Craig Parry, welcome.
Hi, Stu.
Tell us about your company. What's your name? What's your symbol? What market can we find you on?
Sure. So we're IsoEnergy, TSXV listed. ISO's the ticker, and we're a spin out of NextGen Energy, a uranium exploration company.
Uranium, that is your metal.
It is our metal. It's the new green energy metal. It's the metal that the world needs at the moment if we're moving to a low carbon environment.
Yeah, uranium itself has gone through quite a transformation because there was a time where you went, "Whoa, nuclear, forget it, I'm staying away from that."
Sure.
But now we're embracing it because we're saying it is a reliable source of clean energy, and so the demand is set to increase, but we're still sitting in post-Fukushima, where there was a glut of uranium on the market. Where are we at right at the moment as far as the global demand for uranium?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And the Fukushima flooding of that reactor, of course, was a problem. Probably the bigger problem for the industry was Kazatomprom, the Kazakhs, bringing on a huge amount of production and really flooding the market.
Right.
But they've been in the process of cutting their production over the last couple of years. The supply-demand balance there now is in an extraordinary situation. Mm-hmm. You never see this in other metals, really, whereby the global demand for uranium today is about 180 million pounds per annum, and supply is about 90 to 100 million pounds per annum. So it's in a deep supply deficit, and as we work through those stockpiles over the next year or two, we expect that demand will go up. The price will go up dramatically off that supply imbalance.
Mm-hmm. Where are we sitting at price-wise right at the moment?
Well, we're sitting at about $24.50, $25 a pound. That's up off a bottom 2 years ago of about $17 a pound.
Right.
If we see $30 a pound, which we really expect in the next few months, then we'll be in a serious
in the next few
market.
Months.
Yeah.
So what are the factors that are at play that you think are going to see that kind of a bump?
Sure. The key driver there, of course, Kazatomprom cut production. The second biggest producer in the world, Canada's very own Cameco. They closed their McArthur River mine back in 2018, and that was the world's biggest mine. That was producing about 24 million pounds per annum, so roughly 13% of global supply. So they closed that mine in 2018, and they've had to go into the market and buy product for their long-term contracts for that mine. So they've been heavily in the market. They've been in a bit of a hiatus of buying over the last 6 months. But they're set to resume buying pretty seriously over the coming months. So we think that'll put pretty serious upward price pressure on the uranium price.
What do you think the demand in the U.S. is going to be as we move forward? Because there are special considerations about being able to sell into the U.S. market that aren't available to everyone.
No, that's true. And of course, the US is the biggest customer for uranium. They buy about 50 million pounds per annum, so nearly a quarter of global supply or global demand comes out of the US. The US, Trump's pushing to go nuclear, as it were, and increase the reactor build. We've seen very high cost production out of the US cut back dramatically. So we think all of that product going into the US should be coming out of Canada, and we'll see that continue to grow pretty strongly over the next few years. And that's where we'd like to position ourselves, as I say.
To be able to sell into the North American market.
Sell into the North American market, yeah. And as I say, we're a spin out of NextGen Energy. We've got a very big deposit there at NextGen, the Arrow deposit. That's set to be one of the world's biggest suppliers when it comes on stream in 4 or 5 years' time. And IsoEnergy would like to piggyback off that as well. We've made a discovery there at our Hurricane deposit on our Larocque East property. We're in the earliest of stages of that discovery. We're drilling it out. We'll kick off our third drilling program there in the next couple of days.
In the next couple of days.
Yeah. So look, and we're very excited about that. That's turning into something of a significant discovery. And so in that next 5 to 10 years, we'd love to see that project come on and supply into that US market as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so on these properties, where are you at as far as development is concerned? What are the prospects moving forward?
Yeah, so look, we spun out all of our Eastern Athabasca licenses that were in NextGen back in 2016, and then we set about accumulating other projects in that Eastern Athabasca Basin. Of course, the Eastern Athabasca is the home of the highest grade uranium deposits in the world.
Right.
The two biggest mines in the world are there, Cameco's McArthur River and Cigar Lake. So it's a tremendously prospective place. So we've been in there and exploring for 3 years on those properties. We acquired a property off Cameco back about 18 months ago called the Larocque East property. We bought that for the princely sum of $300,000. We had a drill rig on the ground 6 weeks later, and we announced the discovery 2 weeks after that. So, and that's what we've been focused on, our Hurricane discovery. We're just sitting there and drilling that out as we speak.
So what's the long-term plan for you in the development of any of these properties? Are you going to take them stage and then hopefully attract the attention of a major, or on any of them do you see that you would be moving through to the development of a mine?
Yes, good question. We certainly see ourselves as developers. That's what we've done all of our careers. And if we've got a great deposit there, we want to be there for a long time. We want our grandkids to be getting the dividends off the production we get. So our objective is to build projects. We're doing that at NextGen, I'm still an advisor there. Lee Courier, the CEO of NextGen's our chairman at ISO. So they're building that project, and we'd love to follow in their footsteps over the years. Of course, we're at an early stage where, we've been doing two drill programs we've done so far. We haven't got a resource yet, but, we're moving towards that pretty quickly, and we'd love to prove up a resource in the next year or so.
So your team, you have your own team, but then you also have the resources of NextGen to be able to lean on for development as you move forward. And this is important consideration for anybody who's looking at investing in your company.
No, Stu, you're absolutely right. So, of course, it's been hard to raise capital for uranium projects over the last 5 or 6 years. Having that relationship with NextGen's been all important. We raised $7 million in December, of which NextGen put in $2.9 million. So we've got a very supportive major shareholder.
Right. So they have faith in you, which is good.
They have faith in that project. So, that's crucial to what we're doing. I think actually this year we will probably be the 3rd or 4th most active explorer in the uranium space globally, because we can raise that capital to do that. And just on the team, having access to the broader NextGen group is important. We've got a fantastic team ourselves. Our Vice President of Exploration is a man called Steve Blower. Steve actually joined us at NextGen for a period of time, but prior to that, he was the head of exploration for Denison, and he led the team that discovered their Griffin part of their Wheeler River ore body. So Steve's now got 2 discoveries under his belt in that eastern Athabasca. So, our team's really, our track record's second to none.
So one of the questions that's always on the mind of anybody who's looking at uranium, okay, we look at the potential upside. What do you do as a company to ensure that you can get from here to when that market actually hits?
Yeah, look, well, I guess we're in an advantageous position that we've got a discovery. We're the only company globally with a new high-grade discovery, so we've got a lot of eyes on us at the moment. We can raise money, so moving forward, not too aggressively, but certainly advancing the project in a solid way is crucial. A lot of our sort of competitors, I suppose, you see are sitting on their assets at the moment, not doing much conserving capital. We don't do that. We want to push ahead with the projects. The last couple of drill campaigns we've done were with 1 drill rig on the ground. This current campaign that we're kicking off in the next few days, we'll have 2 rigs on the ground. But we're being very careful about that. We're only spending money in a way that advances that project solidly. It remains pretty challenging to find capital for uranium. So you've got to be a bit careful about how you do that.
Well, it's a very interesting space to be in, because as we know, we're moving more and more to this kind of energy production. And so you can't help but have faith in the future. It's a question of when it's going to arrive.
Yep. And we think, as I say, the next few months and over the next year, we should move into a more bullish phase of the market. But if you look out 5 or 6 years, all of the major consumers and customers, particularly those guys in the US, all of their long-term contracts come off over that sort of time frame. So they're completely uncovered. So the demand profile's really solid, and it'll be interesting to see where they want to secure that supply from. I suppose they've been securing spot product in the spot market pretty well over the last couple of years. It's been available, but that we can see that drying up pretty quickly over that sort of time frame. So good story over the next year to 2 years, but look out 5 or 6 years, and we'll be in a very bullish market then.
Well, the rate at which new power plants are coming online is going to increase that demand. demand, isn't it?
It is. China are commissioning a new reactor every 8 weeks. Every 8 weeks. So, again, it's another China story in a way. But outside of that, the Middle East is looking at building reactors. Russia's currently building 26 new reactors as we speak. So, the demand side looks very, very good.
Yeah, well, Patrick Moore, who was one of the speakers here yesterday, he is a big proponent. And this is a guy who was one of the founders of Greenpeace saying, this is the way to go.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Patrick's a great champion for the industry, but even guys like Bill Gates, who you mentioned there before we came on Bill's. I think a lot of the sort of green movement are starting to recognise this is the only true baseload source of low carbon energy.
Reliable, on-demand energy, and this is the key. You can have all sorts of other alternative energy sources, but nothing like nuclear to be able to give you that on-demand, reliable source of power.
No, that's exactly right. And I think a lot of people around the world, certainly governments, are recognising that. I'm an Aussie. I live here in Vancouver now, but for the first time ever, the Australian government and people in Australia are actually having a serious conversation about nuclear energy. So things are changing for the positive.
Well, sure, because there had been such an aversion to it before, but it clearly our appreciation and it has been pointed out, any of those problems that happened or were happening to plants with outdated technology or technology that's 30, 40 years old. And so there are new ways of dealing with any of the issues that are related to it. So it's a very interesting space to be in.
It is.
Yeah.
No, very, very good stuff.
Thanks for coming in and sharing this with us.
Thank you for your time. It's a real pleasure. Cheers.